Hi, and welcome to another session of Reminiscing with History Makers. I'm joined today by John Goldman. John, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So for starters, when did you join APCO?
I joined APCO in 2000 or 2002.
And during your time with APCO, tell us about some of the agencies you worked for, positions you held, and some of your responsibilities.
Sure. When I started with APCO, I was a dispatcher at the line level. Since that time, I've progressed into IT manager, training coordinator, training manager, director of communications, and now chief of a department. So,
what initially drew you to join APCO?
Like a lot of people, I think, I was struggling with training. Back then, we didn't do a lot of training, and I just didn't know where to turn. And at some point, when the internet started, APCO kind of popped up, and I said, gee, that's probably something that would be beneficial for me. And at some point, I joined, and prior to joining, I went to a bunch of classes, and then eventually joined, and it's been history ever since.
There you go. Was there a particular person that was influential in getting you to join?
No, I can't say that there was any one person in particular that specifically encouraged me to join. Rich Betcher has been pretty influential in my time with APCO.
Right on. Describe for us some of your APCO activities at the state chapter or national level.
Sure. So the Atlantic chapter is where I'm from is unusual in that it's 8 states, so it's pretty large. Speaking of Rich, I had put in to volunteer for several years in a row, and Rich had called me at one point and said, hey, I keep seeing your name on the list, and you don't seem to be getting picked, and I think I have a project for you. So he was able to get me onto the ProChart task force when it was a task force, and then from there I've been on multiple committees, member chapter services, agency training program, at the national level, and at the chapter level, I've served as a member at large, president, past president, and I'm now the executive counselor for the Atlantic chapter. So,
would you say you had a favorite activity during that time?
I was the president during COVID, so that was our terms are usually 1 year. Because of COVID, we had to extend it, so it was 2 years, which would typically you'd be excited for an extra year, continue to get extra projects done. And I would say that part of me was disappointed that we really didn't get to do much because of COVID, but I'm excited about the fact that myself and my committee, the people that were serving with me, were able to navigate COVID with our chapter and come out really stronger on the other side.
Would you say your APCO membership has had a direct effect on your career in public safety communications?
100%, absolutely. There's a lot of businesses and sectors of business that you go to work every day and you do your job and you go home and you might collaborate with people in your company, but with APCO it allows us to collaborate with people that are doing maybe the same if not similar jobs, all through your career progression, whether you're a dispatcher or a director, whether you're a director of a large communication center or a small one. You can collaborate with people that are of similar positions and get input and influence from realistically all over the country, if not all over the world.
What would you say you like most about APCO?
I like the feeling of camaraderie and the ability to truly make friends and colleagues, again, all over the country, if not all over the world. And the ability to band together when needed, whether it's for good or bad. I can realistically be almost anywhere in the country, and if I need something or I need help with something, if any of my people need help with something, there's that camaraderie where we can all reach out to each other and we can find somebody we know pretty quickly if we need it.
Is there something you think APCO does better than anyone else?
Yeah, I think APCO does everything better than anyone else. There's no other organization. We found out this week that we have 40,000 members. There's no other organization in this space that specifically provides for all levels of emergency communications, whether it's technical, administrative, line level, supervisory, training. Between the advocating at the federal level to producing the training programs, to producing, we're here now at, the premier public safety communications event in the world. And I think APCO does all of that better than anybody else.
So now with the advent of NG911, what would you say APCO needs to do to stay current with emerging technologies?
I think APCO is doing a great job with it now, kind of trying to lead the, drive the bus, so to speak, so that we know what's coming. We can hopefully capture the needed funds to make that happen nationwide, and I think APCO is doing a great job with that. I think the biggest hurdle today is funding. There's nobody here at this conference that doesn't want to see Next Gen 911 happen and doesn't want to be part of that. But it's the funding and capturing that funding that's going to be the one hurdle that we need to deal with first. Secondary to that, obviously, will be the political hierarchies and the deployment of it. But we need to capture the funds before we can try and deploy it.
What stands out to you as your most significant contribution during your time in office?
I think my time in office, or my time here in APCO, I've worked really hard with other colleagues to propel our chapter forward. The Atlantic chapter is the largest chapter, probably the best in my opinion. But we've worked really hard in my 20 plus years of being here, not just me, but those that have come before me, to really continue to make the Atlantic chapter the best chapter, whether it's membership growth or participation at the national level. We've all worked really hard to do that.
Well, yeah, that's great. We really appreciate you sharing your perspective with us.
Appreciate it.
Once again, this has been Reminiscing with History Makers. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.